Hey, good Sunday. So what you're looking at here is a set of Mita Terraforce tires that have come off of my 2022 KTM 1290 Super Adventure S. The Super Adventure S is obviously the more road-oriented of the Super Adventure bikes from KTM. This set right here has 3,900 miles on them, and I'm actually going to go ahead and swap these out for some Shinko 705s. Now, some people may go, why are you putting such a cheap tire on such an expensive bike? The biggest reason is I've actually read some pretty good reviews of the 705s, and I know some people who have them on their heavier adventure bikes, and they seem to do pretty well. I don't expect to get more than 4,000 miles out of a set of those either, but that is going to be the next set of tires that go on my motorcycle. And also, too, that's more of a 70-30, 80-20 type tire, and will be a little bit better off-road, I think, than these are. These did do well with some gravel, did not do well with deep gravel. There's just no bite in the tire, and obviously no edge bite. When you look at the edge of the tires, there's just no side lugs on these, although they do have a little bit of a side lug there, if you guess you could call that a lug. So that's another reason for swapping out too. Plus, I have another trip to Colorado planned at the end of September, and I obviously need to go ahead and change these tires. To look at these right here, it looks like they have a lot of life left in them, but that's a little misleading because, by the way, the rear tire is standing up on its own. That's how flat spotted it is. I should also note too that I do live in northwest Arkansas, so it's not like where I live is full of straight line roads. In fact, the opposite. We have lots of curvy roads, very fun roads. But these tires got hammered on a trip to Colorado this week. This is what, August 14th right now, and I went to I actually rode up Pikes Peak, which I was really thrilled to do. There's my bonsai trees that need to get trimmed. They're kind of wild. So to look at this rear tire, it looks like it's got a lot of life left on it. If you look, there's the tread bar or tread wear indicator right there. There's the one on the side. Obviously, half this tire's life was high-speed straight line running through Oklahoma, Colorado, Kansas, and then back to Arkansas. I was very disappointed with these tires on this trip because the temps were high, no joke. It was 103, 104, sometimes 105 degrees out in western Oklahoma. Stayed the first night in Boise City, and I was a little dismayed when I got off the bike. This entire center strip was just sheared. If you ever seen, motorcycle that get off a racetrack, they always have a shear, especially if their suspension's not set up properly, or the tire just gets overheated. Well, this is what happened this one. This whole center portion of the tire was just sheared, and I was really worried I would not make it back to Arkansas. The second day of the trip, from Boise City on up to Manitou Springs, was 60 degrees, 75 degrees, the highest. This tire had a chance to quote-unquote heal, and it did okay for the rest of the trip. Again, we are down to the wear bars, and what's hard to tell in this picture is how unevenly this rear tire is worn. This side of the tire has a very noticeable rounded ridge versus how flat this side of the tire is. Part of that is, I think, because whenever I was going through Oklahoma, there was some very strong crosswinds, and kind of riding in a straight line but leaned over, and I think that's why one side of the tire is noticeably a little bit more worn than the other side of the tire. And you can kind of see that here. See the wear bars there versus the wear bars here. So it's just a little bit of a difference, but there is a noticeable difference. Again, this tire is so flat spotted now that it can't stand up on its own. If I wasn't going on a big trip, I would leave them on and get another 500-600 miles out of it. Probably even it up since I'm back home in curvy land. But let's talk about the front. The front is the one that I'm really disappointed with. Now understand, I weigh 200 pounds. I had 30 pounds of gear, and maybe with my Aerostitch suit and helmet, maybe I was pushing 220. So it wasn't like this bike was super laden. But this front tire is severely cupped. Right here, it's such a noticeable, if I can see it on the video, maybe not. But the cupping on this tire is very severe. Again, it kind of patterns the crown of the road, and the fact that I was going through western Oklahoma with, like 20-30 mile an hour winds blowing from the north. I'm leaning to the left and trying to stay upright, and also too just incredibly hot. I will say this, the front tire did not shear like the rear tire did. That is one thing to say about the front. But again, excuse me, it's ragweed allergies here in Arkansas. Again, the cupping on this tire is really significant. Right here, you can just feel there's like a divot right here, just straight down. Again, now that leading edge is not. It's okay. So, yeah, and this tire is definitely crowned. You can really see it right here. Like, it's definitely, like, this side is noticeably worn. I think, let me see. Let me turn it around. I think I have it reversed. There we go. That's the right direction. This is towards the front. So anyway, overall, they weren't a horrible tire. They actually do stick pretty well in the dry. I got a little bit of lean there. You can kind of see. I didn't get too crazy on this bike because honestly, even on this one, I'll lean off enough that it kind of compensates for having to lean so far over. I will say this though, KTM has built one banger of a motorcycle with the 1290 Super Adventure Series, especially the S. Again, where I live here in Northwest Arkansas, this is a sport bike and a touring bike and a sport touring bike and an adventure bike and kind of everything rolled into one. But anyway, that's a report on these Mitas. They will definitely not be going back on. It's a good OEM tire. It's a 90-10. It performed okay for a 90-10 tire, but just disappointed with the high speed wear. And yeah, that's all I really got on them. I'll be curious to see how the Shinko 705s do. Again, that was more of a budget purchase right now, just because I know that I'm fixing to do another long haul back to Colorado and back to Arkansas at the end of September, early October. And I don't want to trash a $300 rear tire and a $200 front tire. Why not trash a $300 front and rear? And then when I get back home to Arkansas, we'll see how the wear is, and I may keep them on there, or I may move up to a more robust 70-30. But anyway, or even a 50-50. I've thought about doing a 50-50 tire. But anyway, thanks for watching this. If you got any comments, the whole same old thing, please do not subscribe to my channel, because there's not enough content on there for you to ever subscribe to. Bye.